So good morning once again. While waiting, let us have a roll call for each department. First, can we have the Health Science Department?
Magandang araw po sa inyo lahat.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, sir. How about the Agribusiness Department? Can you please turn on the microphone and the camera for you to be acknowledged?
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. Good morning. How about the Hospitality and Tourism Management?
Morning po.
Morning, ma'am, as well. Let's proceed to the Cooperative Management Department.
Good morning,
Morning,
ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
May I also call the attention of the Senior High School Department.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am. How about the Information Technology
Good morning, ma'am,
Department?
sir.
Hi, ma'am. Good morning.
Let us also call the attention of the heads of offices. First is we have the Research Office. Anyone?
Again, magandang umaga po sa ating lahat.
Good morning, sir. The Extension Office.
Hello, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Nice bird.
How about the Quality Assurance Office? Ma'am, sir.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, sir. Good morning as well. TESDA Office. Hello, sir. Good morning. Also to our college admin. May we also call on the representatives of each student organizations. Let us also acknowledge our speakers for today's webinar. Professor Elena Ato, ma'am, good morning. And
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. We also have Dr. Lloyd Mata from University of Northern Philippines. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, ma'am.
A pleasant morning to our distinguished participants. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure to welcome you here this morning to our capability building webinar workshop for faculty extensionists and student leaders. We are once again clustered together virtually to yield and share helpful and substantial lectures on how to redirect our students to become sensational and competent leaders of today's generation, and to further flourish the skills of the faculty extensionists as they promote excellence and pursue extension service programs, activities, and projects that will enable the institution, together with the industries and communities, particularly the depressed and the underserved, to achieve sustainable development through community extension services, and more importantly, to render extension service hand in hand with instruction, research, and production. Once again, welcome to our Capability Building Webinar Workshop for Faculty Extensionists and Student Leaders. We would like to start this program by an invocation prayer to be led to us by Ms. Zamaila Fernandin, the Senior High School Extension Focal Person, and to be followed by the National Anthem.
Minimum sensor.
Please excuse us for a while, for we are having technical difficulties.
Dapat kung may
Okay. Wala ba?
no.
Dear participants, please wait us in a minute.
Isa pa.
Let us bow our heads and place ourselves in the presence of the Lord. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and Almighty judgments and your representatives of your blessed guidance. We humbly ask you to shower our speakers today of your greatest inspiration, so that they may share the most of their knowledge, heart, and soul to their respective topics. May we also absorb the invaluable knowledge and experience that you bless all the committees in charge that they may be able to fulfill their task responsibly. Your infinite the knowledge acquired through this activity. Bless the participants as well, so that they would be able to glean the vital information from this activity. May you bestow your blessings after this webinar, so that we may go out and spread what we learned in the spirit of your love and generosity. We ask this in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
To our dear participants, thank you for waiting us patiently. Before we proceed to the set of lectures, may I call on our visionary and dynamic college administrator to deliver to us his opening remarks. Sir, good morning.
Good day to everyone. My special greetings to the invited resources speakers, the person of Professor Elena Ato of Ilocos Sur Polytechnic State College, and Dr. Lloyd Mata of University of Northern Philippines. To the lead initiator of this activity, the head or the coordinator of our extension office, Sir Bertian Bograd, and of course the other focal person of an extension of the different departments or programs in Ilocos Sur Community College, faculty members, other participants on this engagement. Once again, good day. Well, one core responsibility of an higher education institution focus on extension. If we say extension, it's just giving what would be the expertise of the college to the communities, to specified agencies, and others. At this point of time, we have started having some extension programs in the different communities around the province. But nevertheless, we are trying to improve the process on how we deliver our services to our respective clients. So at this point of time, I encourage every participant to be attentive and internalize all the sharings, the learnings coming from our resources speakers so that we could implement them fully and successfully at the local communities college. So in closing, again, I reiterate my thanks and gratitude to our resource speaker, to our extension coordinator, and the rest of the team for having this engagement. And please let us try to internalize that it is in sharing that we receive. Thank you and good day.
Thank you, sir, for the edifying and worth-reflecting message you have shared to us before we proceed to the set of lectures. It is true that let us all encourage everyone to pursue excellence in the field of extension. And to set forth in acknowledging our first resource speaker for today's webinar workshop, may I request Ms. Lovely Ann Cardona, the Agribusiness Extension focal person, to provide to us a formal acknowledgement to our first speaker.
Our first speaker is a registered forester, an associate professor 5, and currently the program head of the BS Forestry and BS Agroforestry programs of the Ilocos Sur Polytechnic State College. She finished BS Forestry and MS Forestry from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. She attended relevant trainings and seminars in research, development, and extension at regional, national, and international levels. She also finished a flagship course on the management of SUC Extension Services in 2014 at the Development Academy of the Philippines. She was the Director for Research and Extension at ISPSC in 2003 to 2009, the Director for Extension in 2010 to 2018, and the UIC Vice President for Planning, Research, Extension, and Training in September 2011 to April 2012. She has presented several papers and won poster presentations in various research, development, and extension fora. She has been a project leader of several national funded RDE projects aimed to uplift lives of people in the rural areas, like the Banana RDE project, funded by the Biodiversity International, Techno-Gabay program, and enhancing the demand for agriculture, fisheries, and natural resources. Both projects funded by PCARD, Establishment Management, and Sustainability of Community Resource. Based Tropical Wines and Distilled Spirits, funded by DOST. Among the awards she received from the regional, national, and international level are the following: R&D Poster category, garnering 3rd place; Best Paper on Best Practices in Extension and Community Service, 1st place; R&D Poster category, garnered 2nd place; Best Practices in Extension and Community Service, 2nd placer; and Best Poster category, 3rd placer. Foreign travels on official business, first on the list, Intercity Cooperation and Development Forum on June 22 to 26, 2010 in Yunnan City, China, sponsored by the provincial government of Ilocos Sur. Second one, Continuing Education Program on Technology Management for Ilyardec Working Group on June 26 to 28, 2013 at Kasarsan University, Bangkok, Thailand, sponsored by Ilyardec. Let us all welcome our first speaker, Professor Elena U. Ato of Ilocos Sur Polytechnic State College.
Thank you, Mom, for that very nice introduction. May I share my slide? Ano nga ba mag-share? Sir Kian, pwedeng stop mo yung slide mo so I can enter. Okay, good morning everyone. Please bear with me. Ang lola kasi hindi na techie. So, mag-aaral muna ako kung paano mag-share ng slide. Nasa na ako. Hello? Nakikita na yung slide ko?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The brilliant college administrator of the Ilocos Sur Community College, Dr. Arnel C. Doctolero, the very active extension coordinator, Mr. Berkian Bugrad, my resource speaker, Dr. Lloyd Mata of UNP, the other extension focal persons of the Ilocos Sur Community College, and the student leaders who are involved in this endeavor. Good morning po sa inyong lahat. It's a great honor and my pleasure to be invited as your resource speaker for this endeavor. Actually, medyo nag-alangan ako kasi hindi na ako yung present staff ng Research and Extension of Ilocos Sur Polytechnic State College. But again, it's a great honor to be invited. So first of all, I would like to congratulate ISCC for this endeavor, and of course for involving your student leaders, because as a senior accreditor of AACUP, I have been involved in the accreditation of or evaluation of SUCs in the country, especially for levels 3 and 4. Pero ito yung Waterloo ng kahit level 3 or level 4 na sila, some failed to involve the students, and I would like to congratulate all of you for involving your students, because even in extension of or in all the fourfold functions of the university, that is an instruction, research, extension, and production, we have really to involve our students, because sila yung ating kauna-unahang stakeholders. And of course, in this endeavor, pwede rin silang matrain to become good extension workers or to become researchers in the future. So kudos ISCC for involving your student leaders. So again, good morning to all. So the task that I was assigned this morning is to discuss with you the role of higher education institutions in community development through extension services. So to start with, as mentioned by your very brilliant college administrator a while back, we have to focus also not only on the other functions of the HEI, but we have also to focus our function on extension. And he mentioned that ISCC must share its expertise to the community. However, may kasabihan na we cannot share what we do not have. No? So this is really a timely endeavor to strengthen your capabilities, since you already have the expertise, but kailangan pa ninyong i-strengthen so that you can share more to the community, especially now that there are a lot of challenges that we are facing brought about by the pandemic. So as a mandate, higher education institutions has to render extension services as one of their fourfold functions along with instruction, research, and production. This is done to support the vital role of colleges and universities in the development of communities, especially the underserved and depressed. So what is community development? So this is the empowerment of individuals and groups of people by providing necessary skills and knowledge needed to affect change in their own communities. This is also done to build stronger and more resilient local communities. And what is extension? So aside from it is one of the fourfold function of the HEIs, it is the act of communicating, persuading, and helping specific sectors or target clienteles to enable them to effectively improve production, community, or institutions, and the quality of life. So this is a definition from CMO Series 8, Series of 2008. That is the guidelines for CHED Outstanding Extension Program Award. Another definition is it is the transfer and application of scientific research and knowledge to educate and improve standard of living of beneficiaries. So the key word here is application of research and knowledge. So in our extension activities, it should be research-based. Na? Kailangan na research-based. That is where you get your technology. No? So there should always be science and technology in our extension activities. And this science and technology that we have that is an output of our researchers should be done to educate and improve the standard of living of beneficiaries. So in research, titingnan na natin yung ano ba yung gap para ito yung ating i-extend to the communities or to a group of people. So dapat yung research natin, we have to solve a certain gap or a certain problem to improve the life of our beneficiaries and our stakeholders. So extension is also the provision of non-formal education and learning activities to people. No? So again, to disseminate knowledge gained through research and education, bringing it directly to the people to create positive changes. So ito yung role natin as UCs, not only to educate our students, but also to educate or to capacitate our stakeholders to create positive changes in their lives. So para maintindihan natin kung bakit ba nag-extension ang mga SUCs. So there is a legal and historical there is a legal basis for this, and I would like also to share with you the historical background of extension. Paano ba nag-start ang extension as one of the roles of the HEIs or the SUCs. No? So noong unang panahon, that is during the 1800 BC, may extension na, no? During the distant past and pre-modern period. This extension was already present to address the food supply. No? So written in clay tablets are the advices on, so there are evidences that there were clay tablets wherein advices on watering of crops and getting rid of rats. No? So these are written in tablets, in clay tablets. And during the pre-modern period, it was recorded in 1304, the earliest Renaissance agricultural text. This is written in Latin. And in as early as 1799, there were already experimental activities, school model farms. There are also agricultural schools, and researches were already published. No? And during the modern times, the There is an institutionalization of extension in education, and this is started in the USA. So in 1867 to 1868, this was an institutionalization of the university extension, and it started in the University of Cambridge, the London University, and Oxford University. And in 1914, this was the first legislated extension organization. And during the modern times, university or the HEIs were already recognized as the primary source of knowledge for research-based programs. And again, bakit nainganyo or na-inspire ang mga tao to do extension, no? Because they found out that during the 1820s to the 1920, pag nag-conduct sila ng extension, a farmer, no, an ordinary farmer, pag nabigyan ng extension program or na-capacitate, nadodouble niya yung kanyang farm productivity. So, because farming that time is only for personal use or for family use, no? So, nung 1820 to 1920, meron na siyang nasi-share or nabibenta. So, nadodouble na niya yung kanyang productivity. Then, 1820, that should be 1920 onwards, I'm sorry. So, one farmer produced enough for himself plus 3.1 people, no? So that is with extension. And in 1956, one farmer produced enough for himself plus 19 or 20 people, no? So, ibig sabihin, nakita nila na doon sa pag-train ng mga tao for food production or farming activities, nagiging efficient yung farmer, kasi nakaka-produce siya nung para sa kanya at nakaka-produce na rin siya ng good for 20 people, no? So this was the success of the US cooperative extension, which fueled the interest in extension. So nakita nila na mabisa nga ang extension to increase production or to capacitate farmers during those times. How about in the Philippines? Paano nag-start extension? So it started with agricultural extension, no? So during the Spanish regime, nag-start through the Grandes Modelos, no? So in 1565. So nag-start yan sa Negros Occidental for sugarcane production. If you can still remember, we were also top producer of sugarcane before, no? Before na nalugi yung sugar industry sa Philippines. Then, Pampanga for rice. So, meron na tayong mga Grandes Modelos for rice in Pampanga. And Isabela for tobacco production. So, the basic aim of this Grandes Modelos is to teach farmers the rudiments of farming. In 1902, during the American period, the Bureau of Agriculture under the Department of Interior established experiment stations and demo farms. And in 1906, dito na na-establish yung mga agricultural schools like UPLB, nag-start siya as the College of Agriculture, then CLSU now, pero dati CLAC. And siguro dito rin yung sa ISPSC kasi dati rin siyang ISAC, no? So Ilocos Sur Agricultural College, and one in Lagangilang also, that is LAC, now ASIS, Lagangilang Agricultural College. So nagkakasunod-sunod na yung pagka-establish ng agricultural schools throughout the country. And in 1910, the establishment of Demonstration Extension Division that conducted the first formally research and extension function under the Bureau of Agriculture. And during the Commonwealth period, excuse me, in 1929, the Bureau of Animal Industry and the Bureau of Plant Industry were created. And 1923, yung Department of Extension Division was renamed Agricultural Extension Service. And in 1936, there was an establishment of Provincial Extension Services and the creation of agriculturist positions, now called extension agents, or ito yung mga technicians na tinatawag natin na technicians sa provinces. No? And during the World War II, that is during the Japanese occupation, since nagtatago ang mga tao, there was no extension service done. So after the war, there was this Bureau of Agricultural Extension, or BAEX, under RA 680. So it covered all extension activities of agriculture and environment. That was in 1952. And from 1960 to 1970, there was the creation of the Rice and Corn Authority and NFAC, the National Food and Agriculture Council, which assumed major responsibility for agricultural extension. Then the BAEX was placed under the Ministry of Agriculture, and in 1979, the National Extension Project was approved. So again, in 1987, the Agricultural Training Institute was created through the merging of the BAEX, the Philippine Agricultural Training Council, and the Philippine Training Center for Rural Development. This is, ATI was created to do all extension activities of the Department of Agriculture, and this is to disseminate research results. And in 1991, there was a devolution of extension personnel through the local government code. Again, in 1997, nagkaroon tayo ng AFMA, with the Agriculture and Fishery Modernization Act. This is done to pursue national agriculture and fishery modernization to achieve the following goals. That is on poverty alleviation and social equity, food security, global competitiveness, sustainable development, rational use of resources, people empowerment, protection from unfair competition. And this was done by the government to compete, for the country to compete in the global market. So what is AFMA all about, and its relation to extension? So dito na natin makikita yung legal basis in the conduct of extension for HEIs. So in section 89 of the AFMA, this is the creation of the National Extension System for Agriculture and Fishery. And the following, or the preceding section, that is section 90, it states that SUC shall assist the LUUs or the local government units in the following activities, that is technical assistance, provision of degree and non-degree programs, extension cum research, monitoring and evaluation of extension projects, and then information support services through tri-media and electronics. So dito na-strengthen or yung mandate natin sa extension, no? So kailangan nating mag-provide ng technical assistance. So ano ba yung technical assistance? So of course, as what I mentioned a while back, in technical assistance, there should be science and technology. So there should always be S&T in our extension. Ano ba yung technology, no? What's the science behind? Para may gamit naman yung mga research natin, no? Kasi sayang naman yung nagagastos natin na for funding our researches kung hindi natin magagamit. So, doon pa lang sa pagplano kung ano yung i-research natin, titingnan na natin kung ano yung technology na gusto nating ibigay o i-share sa community. So, we have to strengthen this technology and we have to prove this technology through research. No? So, bago nating ilabas, na-prove na natin na ito ay nakakabigay ng ginhawa sa ating mga stakeholders or to our beneficiaries. And of course, we do this through the provision of non-degree programs, no? And of course, before, in all our endeavors, para makita natin kung nagkiklik nga ba yung ating extension activities, then we should do regular monitoring and evaluation. No? And we also give in support through the provision of IEC materials or through print or even through radio, no? Yung information na pwede nating ibigay sa mga stakeholders natin. So, eto na-institutionalize na talaga yung ating role in community development through extension services as stated in our mandate and in AFMA, and meron ding sa CMO 08 yung pagbibigay ng CHED ng awards to outstanding extension programs of the HEIs. So na-open na yung SUCs or the SEIs sa pagbigay ng tulong, no? Sa mga stakeholders natin. So I would like to share with you this extension framework. This is my output in my DAP flagship course. That is the Development Academy of the Philippines when I attended the extension training course. So you can see this here in this framework, yung interface of the 4 functions, no? So instruction, research, extension, and production, at paano natin ito na-share sa community, or how do we transform communities through the interface of these 4 functions. So, of course, sa labas ng makikita natin dito, so this is the HEI, ito yung 4-fold functions niya. Then, of course, sa labas ng HEI are the communities, no? The communities that we serve, the stakeholders, the beneficiaries, and even organizations, and even agencies, no? So, this interface, dapat yung mga outputs natin sa research ay nagagamit sa extension, no? So, gagamitin natin sa ating mga extension activities, and also to improve instruction, no? And also, in extension, we involve our students as their training ground, no? So, yung mga extension activities natin, pwede nating i-involve, or pwede nating i-involve ang ating mga students as their training ground. So, kung ano man yung extension activity natin, since may SNT naman, no? So, natututo din yung ating mga students. And also, with the results of our researches, no? This should also be used in our production function, no? So, we create models or model programs, no? Model production activities, no? So, para mga farm models or MSME models, no? So, ito yung itatry natin, no? Yung mga research, results ng research natin sa production, no? So, siyempre, and then, pag nakita natin na maganda talaga yung research result natin at na-model na natin, then pwede na natin gamitin sa extension. And of course, we again involve our students in the production function as their training ground. No? So, ano ba yung... So, sa instruction and through research, nagkakaroon tayo ng human value formation. So, with our students, with the research results na nia-apply natin sa instruction, we capacitate our students, na? Kaya nga sila pumupunta sa atin, kaya sila nag-aaral, na? So there is human value formation. It is expected, na? that this will be our output as research institutions, as HEIs, higher education institutions. We must have to create human value formation in our students and to our stakeholders. And with this, ano ba ang outcome natin? Ano yung outcome? There will be unskilled labor force. So pag nag-graduate yung mga students natin, we create or we nakakatulong tayo sa community or to the country, we input skilled labor force, na? So iba-ibang skills yan, depende sa program natin sa instruction. Then of course, with this skilled labor force, there is an improved way of life, both the stakeholder, our students also, and the community, no? And with this, we create transform communities. So ito yung naitutulong, ito yung function ng extension sa transformation of communities. And also, so nasabi ko na to, no? So training programs, so we give non-degree and non-credit courses. And of course, we also give technical assistance sa mga farmers, sa mga other, not only farmers, lahat ng stakeholders, na, with different specialization or kanya-kanyang business. No? We also give consultancy and advisory services, and yung review classes natin, pwede rin natin extension yan sa mga students natin. So extension to agencies, organizations, associations, and other groups. And we also provide communication information services. No? So this is through TV, person-to-person contact, through print, and other IEC materials. So we also do community outreach and volunteer activities. These are extension activities conducted in areas outside the university. These are the community-based social services, the pilot projects, the mobile clinic. Then, of course, ito na yung sinasabi ko na technology-based na. So we have to transfer the technology that we have created in research, then para magamit, na? So utilization and commercialization, na? So para ma-commercialize yung mga technologies natin. So in commercialization, ito yung pinaka-IPR natin, no? So in the intellectual property, for the intellectual property rights at the IPO office or the IPOPHIL office of the Philippines. Then, so this is the process of circulating, promoting, and marketing research outputs or technology potentials or technologies to potential users. At ito yung sinasabi natin na technology incubator, na yung so HEIs or the SUCs, their function is to incubate or tinatry natin yung mga technology na na-create natin to stimulate the development of entrepreneurial knowledge-based micro, small, and medium enterprises. And we have also the resource sharing, linkaging, resource integration, convergence, and networking. Ito naman yung sa resources, na yung linkaging, collaboration natin with other organizations to conduct extension services. So we collaborate resources, financial, and also technical know-how. So what are the challenges, no? Ano ba yung mga challenges sa atin as HEIs, as providers of information, as providers of knowledge, and as providers of technology, science and technology, no? So with the many challenges, this picture, pag nakita nyo itong picture na to, no? Ito yung twin bridge that connects the first district and the second district. So parang inano ko na yung SUCs or the HEIs connects, na? Connects yung mga challenges or yung mga problems. Kasi may problem itong part na to. Pag nakita nyo, denuded. Ito yung if you go to south, no, nakikita nyo, especially now during summer, no? Makikita natin yung margin, yung denuded na bundok dito, no? And this is not only in this place but all over the province. Makikita natin na ito yung state of our uplands, no? So they become marginal uplands. So dito pa lang makikita na natin na may problema, no? May problema. Because whatever we do in the uplands, it has an adverse effect in the lowlands. If you still remember what happened with Santa Maria recently, the flash flood that we suffered, that is an effect of our denuded marginal uplands. Kasi pag umulan, bababa lahat, no? Yung ulan. Then since wala nang mag-absorb na topsoil, so there will be a flash flood, no? Yung flow, the surface runoff na sinasabi namin sa forestry is very fast, faster than seepage, no? So mas malakas yung pag-flow ng tubig kaysa yung pag-absorb niya pababa to join the water, yung water table natin. So ano talaga yung mga challenges? We have here the pandemic, the food shortage, the digital age, lalo na sa aming matatanda. Sa inyong mga bata, okay, no? Pero sa amin, medyo nahihirapan kami sa pag-adjust, lalo na ngayong online at blended learning, no? Marigatang kami nga ag-adjust na gito'y techies, no? Mga technologies on computer. Siguro meron din yung magagaling talaga, pero karamihan, I think, we have problems, we have gaps with the digital age, no? Then the climate change, the effect of climate change. Sa climate change pa lang, ang dami-dami ng challenges, no? So the climate change is also connected with the pandemic, the food shortage. And pag may food shortage, may malnutrition. So ano na yan? May domino effect na siya, no? So manggagaling yan sa denuded marginal uplands and climate change. Kasi sa climate change, nag-iiba yung season, no? Yung iba, merong La Nina, yung iba, may El Nino, no? So problema ang tubig, yung iba nagkakaproblema ng tubig, no? So it affects also food production, and of course, it will affect food supply, and again, as I have mentioned, it will affect nutrition. So with these challenges, ano ba yung gagawin natin, no? So before we conduct extension activities, hindi lang yung ito yung gagawin ko, na naisip mo lang, no? Na gusto mo lang, no? Ano ba yung mga gaps? Ano ba yung mga gaps? So how can you determine the gaps? So in every extension activity that we do, we must always do this activity, no? Benchmarking and the rapid rural appraisal. Ano ba yung mga resources doon sa target community, doon sa target stakeholders, doon sa target beneficiaries natin, no? So you must do benchmarking. Ano ba yung meron sila? Ano ba yung kaya nila? Ano ba yung kakayahan nila? Baka naman pumunta ka doon, mas magaling pa sila sa agriculture kaysa sa atin, no? Or mas magaling sila sa technology kaysa sa atin, no? Of course, magagaling talaga yung ating mga stakeholders. May mga areas na mas magaling sila kaysa sa atin, no? Because in extension, parang learning process din ito, no? Doon especially sa mga best extension practices na sinasabi natin, we have to learn from our stakeholders, no? Antayo nga datayo laeng ti agi-feed ti inputs or this technology sa kanila. Kasi in their farming system, in their farming activities, meron din silang natututunan in their experience, no? And we know that experience also is the best teacher. So marami na silang na-experience. So yung technology natin plus the experience of these farmers, these stakeholders, pagtipunan tayo so that we will have the best extension practice, no? So, and also in our benchmarking, we must also remember the theory of change na gusto natin maging, or kung ano ba yung target natin. No? So you must always have that theory of change. So mag-benchmark ka, eto ngayon yung situation, then ano ba yung gusto mong mangyari? Na? So what is your theory of change to your stakeholders, to the organization, to the beneficiaries? And of course, so dito pag meron ka ng benchmarking, nakikita mo na yung gap. So alam mo na kung saan ka papasok. No? With the expertise that we have in the SUCs, ano ba yung expertise natin sa instruction? Ano ba yung technology natin na na-create na natin through research? No? So ito yung pwede natin i-share. Sabi nga ni Sir kanina, no? Na kung ano yung expertise natin na i-share sa community. So ito na yung expertise natin, ito na yung ginamnamaan tayo nga paglaingan tayo na ito na yung technology na expert tayo, no? So ito yung i-share natin sa kanila because we cannot share what we do not have. No? Kasi lamit hindi karubam, kaya mo timang itlog, katawa matitlog mo, kasi garod nga ma-share mo. No? So paano ka magkakaroon ng itlog? Di agtarakan ka nga umuna timanok. No? Tapno ito ma-share mo, ikikarubam. So yan so para may ma-share ka. No? So we have, then after this, pag in the implementation, so you have to organize, and you have to plan pala, no? So you have to plan for this extension activity. Then, pag na-plan mo na, then you have to implement. Then during the implementation, we have to do monitoring and evaluation, no? Para makita natin kung itutuloy ba natin, no? Yung ating extension activities or hindi na kailangan kasi magaling na or okay na yung ating stakeholders or beneficiaries. And of course, we also do impact assessment. No? So for extension activities that are less than 10 years, no, we do monitoring and evaluation. But for extension activities that are 10 years or more, then we can do the impact assessment. So itong picture na to, because I travel every day, nakikita ko, no? Ito yung scene na nakikita ko araw-araw sa pagbibiyahe ko because I'm from Bigan and I have to travel 40 kilometers to Santa Maria back and forth, no? And ito yung Ilocos Sur. So ano ba yung paano natin i-bridge or paano natin, so itong mga gaps na nakita natin through benchmarking and appraisal, then paano natin i-bridge to create an impact in the communities of the province. Okay, so that's all. Have a fruitful extension. Hello? Hello?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing substantial information and learnings we've come across as we listen attentively to your lecture. Regarding the role of high and to proceed
Medyo choppy? Medyo choppy or ako? Oh.
Okay. And unmute your... Hello, ma'am. Is it
Yes.
audible already, ma'am?
Okay, yes.
We would like to thank you, ma'am, for sharing your learnings about the role of a higher education institution in the field of extension. And to our dearest participants, if you have any queries or questions regarding the topic,
Okay. Ano to? Okay, yan. Question and answer na? Hello? Hi, Kian. Nice meeting you. Nice meeting you virtually. Hindi pa tayo nagkita. Di kita naririnig, anak. Walang sound.
Hello po. Hello.
Okay. Yes.
Hello. Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so naririnig na kita. Okay. By the way, what's the next? So this is question and answer or?
Yes, ma'am. Open forum na. Open forum na po tayo.
Okay.
We are very sorry, ma'am, for the technical glitches
Oo,
that we are
ganyan.
experiencing
Ganyan talaga.
during our meeting po.
Oo,
Since nasa open forum na po tayo, may I throw the first question po as the extension coordinator of our institution.
Okay.
But first of all, ma'am, I would like to express my sincerest gratitude for accommodating us. We know, ma'am, that you are a very busy person. At medyo parang short notice po yata yung aming invitation. Pero thank you po at pinagbigyan niyo po ang aming request.
It's okay. Actually, last week nagkasakit ako kaya hindi ko masyadong na-prepare. Sorry for I hope may natutunan kayo doon sa short presentation.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we really learned a lot more from your experiences po and your stories. And of course, sa pagbigay niyo po sa atin ng background with regards to extension po, kung ano po yung history, may historical perspective po pala ang extension up to the
Oo, at saka may legal basis din.
Legal basis as well.
Yes.
Yes po,
Hindi lang tayo nag-extension per se na for the sake of doing extension, but there is a history and of course there is a legal basis for the HEIs to conduct extension services to the community.
Yes po, ma'am. Ma'am, I have two questions po dito.
Yes.
Yung first question ko po, ma'am, is paano niyo po how do you implement po your different extension programs in your college or in ISPSC in the middle of the pandemic po?
In the middle of the actually hindi na nga ako before nagka-pandemic timely na nag-exit ako sa extension because mag-open nga ng Kabugao campus and kasi ako nga ako yung chair din ng BS Forestry program and at the same time the director for extension. Tapos magkakaroon ng new program that is the BS Agroforestry at our Kabugao campus. So naisip ko hindi ako superwoman, hindi ko kaya na yung mag full-time na extension director at saka full-time na faculty ng both program or chair ng both programs. At the same time, meron pa rin akong teaching load that is full-time teaching load pa rin. By the way, kung paano, gusto ko lang i-share doon because I have evaluated doon sa accreditation, no? Nakita ko doon sa mga SUCs na in-evaluate namin during the online accreditation, kasi online na din yung accreditation ngayon. So, meron din silang online extension activities also, no? Pero more on radio at saka yung mga IEC materials. Tapos by the way, in conducting extension activities, you must have your trust and priorities, no? Dapat meron kang trust and priorities. Magbe-base yan sa kung ano yung goal, ano yung vision mission of the university. So titingnan mo doon, magka-cascade doon yung extension. So dapat para online, naka-align yung extension activities mo doon sa vision mission ng university. No? So titingnan mo saan papasok. Yun nga, magkakaroon ka pa rin ng assessment kung ano ba yung, of course may internal at saka external assessment. Ano ba yung meron ka? Ano ba yung expertise mo? So ano sa loob, sa school, ano ba yung expertise ng mga faculty? Ano ba yung kaya natin na ibigay? Then you have to form your trust and priorities. And from that trust and priorities, you create your banner programs. No? Doon sa mga roles na sinabi ko, role of HEIs, doon ka titingin kung ano yung mga, saan ka pwedeng pumasok. Then you do that as your banner programs. So doon sa banner programs, tingnan mo naman ngayon, ano ba yung pwede mong gawin through online. At ano yung pwede mo, yung hindi mo pwedeng gawing online at face-to-face lang talaga. So kung face-to-face lang talaga, di gawin mo ito sa mga areas na pwede kang pumasok, but limited lang, di ba? Kasi we have to abide to the protocols, the IATF. Yun.
Thank you, ma'am. In the middle of the pandemic, we really need to be creative po, no? As well as para maging hybrid na din kasi meron na rin po pala tayong mga online extension related activities.
And we have to maximize the use of our ICT now. No? At bagay na bagay yan sa inyo ngayong mga kabataan kasi kayo, mga techie kayo. Pero sa amin na matatanda, medyo nako, medyo agsanod-sanod kami pagdating sa mga ganyan. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. My second question po is, since the extension office in Iscc has been re-institutionalized under the flagship of Dr. Lero, ma'am, we have this challenge in finding tools or assessment tools that is applicable po in the community because we are planning to conduct or at least initiate now our needs assessment and to forge partnership to the different communities or different communities around here in the province. Ma'am, can you or saan po ba na pwede makuha yung mga rapid assessment, the rapid rural assessment tool? Or meron po ba access sa online yung mga rapid assessment tool po natin?
Oo, meron yung mga pag nag-search kayo sa internet, meron mga benchmark tools, may mga assessment tools.
And that is applicable for here in...
Yung iba, hindi, i-modify mo. Oo, hindi siya talaga naka-tailor. Kasi yung mga assessment tools, tailored for specific organization and specific target beneficiaries. So, parang sa grocery na mag-grocery ka, ito, kunin mo. Then, tingnan mo kung ganun ang ginawa ko, no, being the pioneer director for extension. That was also the greatest challenge that faced me before, no? Yan yung isa kong problema, paano bang gagawin dito kasi noong unang panahon mahirap mag-start talaga, no? So, ang ginawa ko yun nga, para kang grocery ang tawag ko doon parang meron kang grocery basket tapos makukunin mo yung kung na may nakita ka, may na-search ka online, kunin mo ito and then after that you have to study all this and then tingnan mo kung ano yung applicable, tapos kunin mo lang yung applicable sa inyo. I did that.
Thank you, ma'am. And I think, ma'am, parang yun din po yata yung aming draft since we are really trying to strengthen this core function of the core function or the extension as one of the core function of a higher education institution. So thank you very much, ma'am. Yun lang po yung aking question. And I hope, ma'am, kapag meron po kaming tatanong, maybe I will just send to you my message na lang po siguro.
Yes.
Thank you very much po, ma'am.
I will just be 1 peso text away.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much po, ma'am. Thank you po.
Tsaka may kaibigan ako dyan, si Sir Amador. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention him during nung sa unang part of this program. We both attended my first journey abroad in China. Wow.
Oo nga po, yun daw po yung...
Many years ago. Hi, Sir Amador. Asan ka? Tagal na kami hindi nagkita niyan, kaibigan ko yan. Oo, we do benchmark. We attended or we joined the provincial government to do benchmarking in China before na nag-city ang vegan city, na. So may contribution ng Iscc at ISPSC also sa benchmarking ng cities in China before na nagka-city ang. So we are proud kami ni Sir Amador. Hi, sir.
Hi, partner, miss you.
Oh yeah, I miss you too. Nagkita kami dito, di ubing kami pa itataka ni Apaya. Laklakay kan bakit tamad-tan, friend?
Uy, garod, kita mo na laeng. Ado pala ba Serbian ta?
Okay, when. Okay, thanks for the invitation.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
May nag-raise ng hand. Yes, okay.
From Sir Jeff Leiraboron.
Yes, okay.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Joanna, for acknowledging me, and thank you so much, Ma'am Dr. Elena, for that. Ma'am Elena, for that comprehensive discussion a while ago. I'm Jeff Leiraboron, Ma'am, the research coordinator of Ilocos Sur Community College, and while I was listening to the discussion a while ago, it has been mentioned for several times the need to align and to make the direction of both research and extension congruent. Ma'am, to be honest, we Sir Bert and I are in the same office sometimes, since the ISCC Research Office has its own developmental plans. It also has its own priority activities and programs. My question, ma'am, is what were your best practices that you used or that you employed in your office or in your institution to finally find a common ground or a niche for both extension and research offices to work hand in hand without compromising their priority programs just to cater to the needs of the other?
That's a very nice question and a challenging one also. Best practices. Kasi tayo yung gagawa ng best practices, no? Depende yun sa resources natin, no? So pag sinabi nating resources, that is on fund, financial, at saka technical expertise, no? Tsaka yung tao na willing. Kasi kahit marami ka namang tao din, kung hindi sila willing, dahil hindi naman sa ayaw nila, but it's not their expertise, no? So parang you're putting a square peg on a round hole, sabi nga nila. So dapat congruent lahat, no? Of course, as higher education institutions, ang meron tayo is technical expertise. Sigurado yan, no? So sa technical expertise natin, diyan ka rin magre-research. So you have to align your research priorities based sa technical expertise. Yung kakayahan mo, kasi alam nga namang wala naman kayong forestry, magre-research kayo on forestry, no? And pwede rin sa natural resources. So ano ba yung flagship programs ninyo? Ano ba yung kakayahan ng faculty? So you must, first of all, bago tayo magkaroon ng external assessment, magkakaroon muna ng internal assessment. So ano ba yung, at saka importante rin yung budget, no? Kasi hindi naman tayo makakagalaw kung wala tayong pera, no? Lahat tayo, kahit sa bahay, kahit ikaw as individual, di pati yung sa HEI, pag wala kang pera to fund your research and extension activity, hindi ka makakamove. Ang paggasolina tilugan, no? But funding is also a challenge, no? Because with the meager fund of HEIs for research and extension, kasi hindi naman kasi ito yung priority ng national government natin. So hopefully pag nagkaroon tayo ng new administration, because if we compare the budget for research and extension for our Asian countries, no, kakaunti yung budget natin for research and extension, especially sa education, no? Kakaunti compared to other neighboring Asian countries. Kasi nung unang panahon, during the 1970s, tayo yung nangunguna sa SNT. Pero it's so sad na ngayon, medyo hindi na tayo nandun sa top, no? Medyo nahuhuli tayo pagdating sa science and technology because ito yung constraint, yung budget. Kasi maraming magagaling na Pinoy, di ba? Nakikita natin, even abroad, nag-excel sila abroad. Even in our locality, maraming magagaling. However, because of limited budget and ito yung constraint, hindi natin nagagawa yung gusto natin. However, ito yung challenge. So you have to generate resources. Ito yung tinatawag natin na resource generation. No? So you make proposals na kaaya-aya sa mga funding agencies. So titingnan natin ano ba yung mga funding agencies, mga research institutions na nagbibigay ng pondo. So titingnan natin, so hindi lang kasi tayo magbe-base sa trust and priorities ng HEI. We have also to base it on the trust and priorities ng region, ng province, ng region, at saka national. No? Kasi itong mga PICARD, mga CHED, mga national organizations yan. So ano ba yung trust and priorities nila pagdating sa research and extension? CHED is giving fund for research, no? Millions. Even the Department of Science and Technology, the Fishery, the PICARD, nagbibigay din sila ng pondo for research and extension. However, you have to align to their trust and priorities. So in the creation of your trust and priorities, hindi lang yung sa vision, mission, and goals ng college, but we have to have a bigger picture. Ano ba yung trust ng regional at saka national level? So kung hindi natin kayang pondohan ito kasi, halimbawa gusto mo, medyo ambitious, is an ambitious project, na ito talaga yung nakita mong solution sa gap. Kasi ito yung nakita mo as a result of your assessment, of your benchmarking. No? So ito talaga yung, well, it's big time. Malaki ang kailangan mong pondo. So tingnan mo naman ngayon yung priorities ng trust, so ano bang area siya? Kung sa nutrition, then we have the NNC, no? The National Nutrition Council, POST, and even CHED. So kaya ba naka-align ba sa trust and priorities ng mga organizations na ito? So if it is, then you prepare or you package a proposal na naka-align sa mga priorities nila so that you can get the nod. Mag-oo sila sa pondo mo kahit million pa yan. Did I answer your question, Jeffrey?
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that comprehensive answer. And you just gave, but I'm sure that you also gave birth and also me an idea on how we can target some of our goals next time we have our roundtable discussion. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much, ma'am and sirs. Thank you so much, ma'am, for comprehensively answering the questions being raised. Thank you, Sir Jeff, and thank you, Sir Kian. Any other questions, there's participants? Okay, if there's none, let us proceed to our second lecture.
Okay, so in behalf of the Ilocos Sur Polytechnic State College, headed by our hyperactive and very good president, Dr. Gilbert R. Arce. Thank you very much for inviting me. And as I have told Kian a while back, if you have questions regarding this, regarding extension, then I will just be 1 peso tax away. Thank you very much.
Thank you again, ma'am, for graciously reaching out to us today and sharing your valuable insights. And may we virtually hand this certificate of recognition with a citation. Certificate of recognition to Professor Elena Yuato for sharing her expertise and valuable time as a research speaker during the Capability Building Seminar and Workshop for Faculty and Student Extensionists held on January 28, 2022 via Google Meet video conferencing platform, given this 28th day of January 2022 at the Ilocos Community College, Quirino Stadium, Zone 5, Bantay Ilocos, signed by our Extension Coordinator, Sir Bert Kian Prograd Man, and to our college, and also signed by our college administrator, Dr. Arnel Castro Doctolero. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you,
Let's
Iscc. My pleasure.
And to introduce to us our second lecturer for today's webinar, may I call on Mrs. Buena Criselda Tolosa, the Hospitality Management and Tourism Extension focal person, to provide us more of formal acknowledgement about our second research speaker. Ma'am.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Joanna. It is my pleasure to introduce our second speaker for today's webinar. Our speaker is an Assistant Professor 4 of the University of Northern Philippines, teaching social science and philosophy subjects in the undergraduate courses and foundation of education in the graduate studies. He earned his master's degree in education, major in guidance and counseling in the year 2005. He holds a doctorate degree in educational management since 2011. Aside from teaching, he held various administrative functions in the university, especially in the Office of Student Affairs and Services. He was a coordinator in research, monitoring, and evaluation of Office of Student Affairs and Services, head of social community involvement and student involvement and multi-faith services, advisor of the Supreme Order of University Legislators, the legislative branch of UNP Student Government, and head of student government organizations and activities. He was the special assistant to the university president in the year 2020. At present, he is the coordinator of community and social services of the University Extension Office of UNP. Without much ado, let us welcome in our midst the man of the hour, our esteemed speaker, Dr. Lloyd A. Mata. Let's give him a warm round of applause.
Thank you, Ma'am Talosa, for that short introduction. Good morning to each and everyone. I hope I can give justice to the topic assigned to me because I'm still new to the extension office. And by the way, this is my first year anniversary, January 28th. I was assigned last year for this work, and I hope that I can deliver the topic well. And I hope Dr. Fatima Rocamora will not be, kasi siya yung siya yung nag-assign sa akin to speak before you in her presence kasi because of due circumstances, mayroon po siyang gagawin yata. Or I mean, she's not well. So with this, I hope the topic assigned will be of great help to you, your extension activities. And thank you for also inviting me as one of your resource speakers. And please allow me to share my presentation. I hope alam ko kasi I'm not that techy also. Ala, bakit ganito?
Hello, sir. I will try to present your
yes, Sir Bert, please assist me because I'm not that well in
yeah, po, sir. Stop sharing na lang po, sir, so that I can share your slides.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
No problem, sir.
Buti na lang shinare ko sa iyo.
Oo nga po, sir.
All right, so good morning again, moms and sirs. Good morning also, Ma'am Elena, our first speaker. Parang ayaw ko na magsalita kasi all the things that I will be discussing today, medyo nasabi mo na. So, parang nahihiya na po ako.
Bakit naman, sir? Good morning, sir.
Good morning po, ma'am. So, anyway, I hope I can also share a little bit of what I have learned from the Extension Office. So, today I will be presenting to you a topic, building faculty and student extensionist, leadership management and planning skills. So, sir, Robert, next please. All right, so a question, why is there a need to capacitate faculty and students in extension services?
Excuse me.
Yes po.
Kayan, i-slideshow mo siguro para ano?
Yeah, tama.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay po. Okay na po. All right. Yes, thank you, Ma'am Elena. Okay. A question, why is there a need to capacitate faculty and students in extension services? So probably, lagi natin tinatanong yan. And then, of course, as Ma'am Elena said a while ago, that it is also one of our functions to render our corporate responsibility, our social responsibility to the community where we are in. And then probably, of course, this to train or to capacitate or to build faculty and students is the process of transferring specific skills to perform a job better. So probably it is evaluating our vision, mission, objectives, and our goals. And then of course, in our university, mayroon namang mga sustainability framework natin. So we also need to review all those things. And it helps people also to become qualified and proficient in doing some jobs. So usually, an organization facilitates the employees' learning through training so that their modified behavior contributes to the attainment of the organization's goals and objectives. So probably parang sinasabi natin that to go for an extension work is parang madali lang. Punta ka lang sa community, chika-chika konti, and after that, that's all. But of course, there is a deeper meaning in going to a community to extend our programs, the university, and at the same time to also help them in their battle for difficulties and challenges that they are facing. So to capacitate also, training is also the process of teaching, informing or educating people so that they may become as well qualified as possible to do their job. And they become qualified to perform in positions of greater difficulty and responsibility. So probably to go the same time sa community, sabi kanina ni Ma'am Elena, you cannot give what you do not have. So probably we have to train first. We have to educate. We have to develop trainers before they can train, before they can share something to the community. Kasi this is already a great issues or concerns na probably in some other schools or that of course around the corner na they just go there na parang aside sa wala back, parang wala lang, di ba? And then without any setting of goals or setting of objectives why they conduct extension activities. So in this line, we have to know na half empty pa yung mga faculty, half empty pa yung mga students in terms of extension activities, setting programs, or yung tinatawag nating PPAs, yung program projects and activities that we have to. All right, so next slide, sir. So to capacitate, of course, we start from the very basics of extension services. Ano ba yung basic? We have to know the concept. So extension, so community outreach or services play a vital role in transferring new knowledge and technologies to end users. So globally, governments and international development agencies have invested large resources for developing agricultural extension systems. Yung sinasabi kanina ni Ma'am. And then not only agricultural, here comes fisheries, here comes forestry, and so on and so forth. So during the past decades, the national governments and international development agencies have supported and implemented numerous extension models and programs. So they keep on updating, they keep on giving us frameworks and so on and so forth. And then we should to know all these things. Sir? Now, here comes the extension agenda. Sorry kasi medyo maliliit. I hope you can still read it. Allow me to share with you the background of our extension programs. The extension agenda incorporates areas of concern from, of course, originally from the Sustainable Development Goals or the SDGs, as provided in the United Nations Development Plan or UNDP. And then the apparent integration of the ASEAN in 2015 is an opportunity also to make UNP, of course, not only UNP, reach beyond national borders. Okay, the ASEAN leaders declared that an ASEAN community should be established to ensure peace, stability, and shared prosperity in the region. So if you try to browse the net, lahat ng schools, SUCs, ito yung pinanggagalingan ng kanilang extension, university extension agenda. So they envisioned ASEAN communities based upon three intertwined pillars, namely, of course, the ASEAN Security Community, ASEAN Economic Community, and ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community. So it is also in accordance with the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, Philippine Development Plan. Then of National Economic Development Authority and anchored on 10-point socio-economic agenda, Commission on Higher Education, National Higher Education Research Agenda, Department of Science and Technology, Harmonized National Research and Development Agenda, 2017-2022 and National Integrated Basic Research Agenda, 2017-2022, the National Unified Health Research Agenda, Gender Responsive Extension Agenda, CMO series of 2015, and the CMO number 52 series of 2016 that advances the pathways to equity, relevance, and advancement in research, innovation, and extension in Philippines higher education. So in this line, dito pumapasok na yung SUCs. So state universities and colleges in the Philippines, of course, are mandated to perform a trilogy functions or fourfold functions, which include instruction, research, and extension. Ito po yung laging sinasabi kanina ni Ma'am Elena while I was listening with her. And then here comes the CMO number 46, 2012, stipulates that one of the missions of the Philippine higher education system, of course, is to help improve the quality life, or the quality of life, I should say, of Filipinos. Kasi nakikita pababa ng pababa. And then, of course, to respond effectively to changing societal needs and conditions, and provide solutions to problems at the local community, to the grassroots, regional and national levels. So with these extension services, as a core function of universities and colleges, measures or indicators on the extent and efficiency of delivery of extension service has been included in the various assessment for state universities and colleges in such as in SUCs. Sabi kanina ni Ma'am Elena, yung doon sa accreditations, the annual major final outputs of SUCs, the institutional sustainability assessment of CHED, andyan na lahat yan, institutional and the program accreditation of the accrediting agency of chartered universities and colleges, laging hinahanap yan sa ako. Right? So this is also the reason why personnel, students, staff are doing research and extensions. Yung kanina yung tanong ni Sir Jeff Lay kanina with regards to the interface of research and extension, yeah, they really go hand in hand with regards to activities and programs. Kahit magka-separate sila, they are separated yet connected with each other. Parang husband and wife yung dating nila, that they have their own priorities, they have their own programs, pero in some other times, they unite as one in the development of the community. Sir? Next slide, sir. Okay. So, faculty and students should be aware also of the sustainability objectives. Ano ba yung sustainability objectives na tinitignan natin? Of course, to ensure that people will be given priority to warrant human flourishing, and then to build a stronger community to face all challenges of time and space. So ito yung lagi nating iniisip. Ito yung lagi nating we keep on putting in our mind, our heart to work on to the community, and then to establish a broader and bigger horizon for the optimum utilization of resources and capacities also. And to promote and support the establishment of sustainable livelihood and skills training programs, and then to ensure that all livelihood and skills training being offered by the university, of course, that you are in, are appropriately coordinated and implemented at the institutional, municipal, and barangay levels, NGOs, NGAs, SMEs, and other stakeholders. Then, also, to ensure that all livelihood and skills training are made available to barangay communities that need the most help from the government. So, lagi nating tinitignan yung talagang nangangailangan, kung sino o kung anong lugar yung dapat nating puntahan. Hindi yung saturated na yung isang barangay, we keep on going to this particular area, particular place na saturated na. That these community people are already parang sawa na ba. So, punta tayo sa mas ibang, I mean, we go to other places na nangangailangan, na kailangan nila ng tulong natin, yung assistance natin. And then, of course, to maximize environmental impact and reflect environmental capacity and potentials, to make the environment a better place to live in, and to ensure that the training needs of barangay communities based on local development plans are properly identified and adequately provided. And lastly, to prioritize rural areas with the highest poverty incidence in the provision of services aligned with the priority programs and mandate of the university. So yung sinasabi kanina ni Ma'am Elena, that we have to look into our visions, our missions, our objectives as a university, and doon ka kukuha ng yung mga priorities mo itutulong sa community. Kung ano ba yung gusto mong gawin. Kasi nga, hindi ka lang basta-basta pumunta na lang doon, doing some dole out, gift giving, and so on and so forth. And then, or gusto mo lang mag-conduct ng extension activities, punta ka na lang doon sa isang lugar na wala ka namang project na talagang yung program ba na series of activities na sinusunod. So we have to know all these things, moms and sirs, so that in the conduct of extension services, nagiging noble siya, nagiging talagang extension of the university na isang, an area where our social responsibility ibinibigay natin sa mga community people who are underserved sectors. Okay, next po, sir. Next slide, please. So, talking about community extension services, extension program is an essential component of quality education. So, hindi lang sa instruction tayo natututo or nagkakaroon ng knowledge. But of course, in conducting community extension services also, parang mayroong give and take yan. So it imparts skills and technological training to many of those who have limited access to formal education. So during the time of yung mga nauna sa akin sa University Extension Office ng University of Northern Philippines, mayroon yung ginagawa nilang informal education, mga training course dati. But due to the restrictions of the pandemic, medyo lumayo muna kami doon sa mga ganoon because of course, the restrictions also. And then, and the guidelines of ITF. And then, yung tanong kanina, Sir Bert, kay Ma'am Elena, how do we conduct extension activities during this pandemic? So probably in the University of Northern Philippines, we do online or virtual extension activities. And then at the same time, may mga limited face-to-face din po kami as long as umapasok sa guidelines na between 10 to 15 individuals in one particular open place. Yun po ginagawa namin. And then, however, karamihan sa amin is online or virtual to the extent na kahit livelihood programs nagiging virtual. How ginagawa po namin is that parang sa YouTube na halimbawa for cooking, then you have to cook, dine-demonstrate mo na rin, bini-video mo yung sarili mo. Then bini-video mo yung sarili mo. Then after that, pinapanood ka na rin ng mga clientele. So, ganun po yung ginagawa namin as one of the activities to reach out to the community. So, extension is designing activities that affect behavior change through constituent-driven programs, focus on outcome-based objectives, using variety of educational processes and techniques over a continuum time. So this is the package of community service. Today's challenge for extension work is a multifaceted educational initiative to link technology, expertise, and resource government and non-government institutions to the issues and concerns of individuals and society in general. This entails continuing task of capacity building for the Filipino people and communities towards self-reliance and empowerment. So, yung tinatawag natin empowerment for human development, within the context of poverty and deteriorating level of human development. Extension program, of course, causes the educational institution to have linkages with and serve the bigger community. Of course, that makes the institution real and alive in the hearts and minds of its stakeholders on real life situation and scenarios. So therefore, we believe that change is inevitable and giving us the reason to be catalysts of change. We are extension agents, extension coordinators, or extension workers with a unified goal to serve the community and larger society, leading to uplift their quality of life and close with these essential elements. Of course, we have service-oriented, leadership, and character building. Ito po yung lagi natin pinofocus. Next slide, sir, please. So the approach to community engagement of the school includes 3 characteristics also. And of course, the first one is access, participation, and relevance. Our institution, therefore, makes itself available to the community through our staff, faculty, students, who channels the institution to other agencies in our community, and the access to institution which direct links the school to other agencies and community. So the institution's participation refers, of course, to varying roles of the school and the community in programs and projects that may be classified as service-oriented, as the school provides, supports the community. Through, of course, mutual exchange, wherein the school and the community share both their resources and informations. Dito pumapasok yung MOA natin, yung kung ano yung responsibilities ng school, responsibility ng community, it's a tripartite, university, community, and the LGU. Of course, through cooperative engagement, where both the school and the community work together in the implementation of specific projects. And through a transformative engagement, wherein the community takes the lead in decision-making as the school provides necessary support to sustain the engagement. So all activities, programs, and projects to be conducted should have its relevance or development priorities, taking into the consideration institutional competency in response to the needs of the community. And of course, the key principles of extension services is to encourage people to take action through education also. Next slide, sir, please. Now, the framework. Extension is a public service worked by an academic unit, faculty, staff, and students, individually or as a group. So this function of an institution is a contribution to achieving excellence in social, public service, especially the underserved sectors or the marginalized people. So thus, we have to build faculty and students along leadership management, planning skills. Dito pumapasok yung fourfold functions of the extension services of the university, our school. Yung planning, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation in order to see the dialectic transformations or the improvement of the extension services together with the community that we are helping or trying to establish. So extension generates, validates, and applies knowledge that can enrich instruction and research. Dito pinapasok yung interfaces ng mga functions of the university. So therefore, we have to come up with a good program plan and become effective in implementation and be guided in the operation of extension program. Standards must be significantly observed. So in the University of Northern Philippines, meron yung tinatawag namin university concept of extension programs, that all the academic units in the university ay naka-align sa program ng university as a whole. So doon na lang sila they are looking into kung ano yung kaya nilang i-render as a service to the community. So for example, in the university, halimbawa, community building halimbawa, ang pinag-uusapan dito, then pumapasok yung different academic units kung ano yung kaya nila. Like for example, for College of Technology, along community building, pumapasok yung mga skills ng na training, livelihood training. Then papasok naman yung HRM halimbawa, or HRM, papasok naman yung knowledge transfer with regards to cooking, kanda dumapay. So probably ganon yung tulong-tulong yung different academic units to attain the university concept of extension services. Next slide, sir, please. So sabi kanina ni ma'am, we have to evaluate our philosophy, mission, vision, and values before we can conduct an assessment. Yung kanina sabi niya, may internal and external assessment. Ano yung kaya mo, yung capacity mo to render an activity. So doon mo titignan. Then we have the external assessment. So you go for a community, yung potential partner for an extension program, titignan mo initially kung ano yung kailangan nila, you talk to the LGU, and then after which, meron kang assessment tool kung ano yung kwan mo para mas maganda. Yung assessment tool mo, nakapaloob doon yung capability ng school. Alangan naman na halimbawa, yung sabi na kanina, agriculture, agri-forestry, yung parang ganon. So, dapat in the assessment tool, kung ano yung kaya ng university, kung ano yung ginagawa ng university na kaya nilang ibigay, doon nakapaloob din yung assessment tool. So that when you go for a community, halimbawa, sabi ng community, kailangan namin ng PMA, pedicure, manicure, agkulot. Awame di university concept. So, ang gagawin ngayon ng university, they will still conduct the community, but they will hire or they will get a resource person who can able to deliver the PMA. Parang ganon. So, tinitignan po natin yung values, yung capability. The vision, So in launching a new plan, we need to revisit the existing philosophy, mission, and vision statements to ensure they continue to reflect our aspirations for the future. And it was important, of course, that to adopt a set of shared values to guide all facets of community extension should be felt. So taken together, the three statements reflect what we do, the mission statement, what we aspire to be, the vision, and the things we value as we operate across all aspects of the agency or the community, the shared values. Next slide, sir, please. So for simple understanding of philosophy and guidelines, tignan natin that should always be values-driven, papasok na yung volunteerism, proactive, hindi lang nagiging reactive, kundi proactive din tayo, sustainable development goals, people empowerment, social transformation, and community development. So yung mga samples po ng philosophy natin as one university concept. And then next slide, sir. Now, here comes the modalities. Yung paano natin gagawin yung niya. So, of course, papasok na yung information, education and communication, advocacies, Here comes training, livelihood programs, pumapasok na rin yung social responsibility natin, demonstration, technical assistance, we have technology transfer, consultancy, expert services, ecological restoration, short-term courses. So yung pwede nating modalities for our extension programs. And then next slide, sir. Then here comes now the program success indicators. We have responsiveness, integration, linkaging and networking, mutual respect to partners, coordination, resource generation and sharing, then population served. So these standards are set to work hand in hand and considerably a work in progress as the cycle of its interrelation must be deliberated also through a result of constant monitoring and evaluation of programs and projects na nasabi kanina ni Ma'am Elena. So parang ayoko na sana kasi parang nakakaya na inuulit ko yung sabi niya kanina in terms of monitoring and evaluation programs and projects. Then the possibility of refinement of such process also is anticipated without disregarding the expected outcome of programs and projects and not going beyond the goal statement. So through this extension framework, the convergence of the three academic functions of the institution or fourfold function will be appreciated, realizing its existence as higher education institution, while maintaining, of course, the culture of excellence and its contribution to the or in the society. Next slide, sir, please. Now, this is a little of information with regards to the principles of extension. First and foremost, when we say extension, activities are widespread throughout the developing world, and most governments have set up formally structured extension services to implement extension programs and projects. The practice of extension is supported by budget. Kailangan natin yan, hindi natin mawawala yan. Offices, personnel, students, and other resources. Next slide, sir. Now, the first principle is that extension works with people, not for them. With, the word with. So extension works with rural people. Only the people themselves can make decisions about the way they will live their lives. And an extension agent or extension workers do not try to take these decisions for them. Rural people can and do make wise decisions about their problems, right? So if they are given full information, including possible alternative solutions, by making decisions, people gain self-confidence also. And extension, therefore, present facts, helps people to solve problems, and encourages them to make decisions. People have more confidence in programs and decisions which they have made themselves than in those which are imposed upon them. Pupunta ka doon, pag mo silang turuan. Yung sabi kanina ni Ma'am Elena, if I can still remember it right, in terms of farming. Sa farming, mayroon silang alam, papasok ka doon, huwag kanyan, ganito. Sursurwan di gijay, kulang to kaya gijay, lalakay nga tagtaltalo di farmers. Sursurwan laki din ma'am, sursurwan laki din sir, nabayagan nga taltalo nin. So, you work with them, not for them. So, kailangan natin that there is openness when we help, when we assist them, we give them information and let them decide for their own. Next, sir. Extension is accountable to its clients. We are all accountable. When we say responsibility and accountability, medyo magkaibang concept. When we say accountability, it's more on punishment and reward, praising and not praising. So extension services and agents have two sets of masters. On the first hand, they are accountable to the government departments that determine developing policies, yung mga national government natin. So agents are expected to follow official policies and guidelines in their work. Mayroon naman tayong sinusunod na laws, mga policies on how to conduct extension services. And on the other hand, extension is the servant of the rural people and it has the responsibility to fulfill the needs of the people in that particular area. So this means that the rural poor or the rural people should have a say in deciding effective extension activities. And one measure, I should say, of effectiveness is to see how well policies and plans have been carried out by the extension agents or extension workers. So therefore, extension programs are based on people's needs as well as on technical and national economic needs. Extension agents or the extension workers tasked to bring these needs together. Next slide, sir. Extension is a two-way link. Extension is not just a one-way process in which the extension agent transfers knowledge and ideas to community and their family. So such advice is certainly important, but the flow of information from community to extension and research workers is equally important. So extension should be ready to receive community's ideas, suggestions, or advice, as well as to give them. So it's a two-way learning process. Next slide, sir. Extension cooperates with other rural development organizations. So hindi lang yung tayo yung gumagawa ng paraan to do extension activities, but also we have to cooperate and link with other units, other rural development organizations. Within rural areas, extension services and agents should work closely with other organizations that provide essential services to communities and their families. So kung our school, as the University of Northern Philippines, ISPSC or Iscc, meron tayong activities together to a certain community, then the better. All right. So extension is not, of course, is the only one aspect of the many economic, social, and political activities that seek to produce change for the better in rural society. Extension, therefore, must be prepared, okay, to collaborate with all other organizations, the other LGUs, NGOs, NGAs, and other groups. So it is essential that the extension agent in the field, of course, in that particular area, know what his colleagues in other services and government departments are doing. So parang sa amin sa University of Northern Philippines, halimbawa, one university concept, pwedeng papasok yung engineering, College of Health Sciences, College of Teacher Education, College of Business Ad, in one particular area. Meron silang kanya-kanyang services na pwedeng i-render. Okay? So, ganun po. So, ganun din pag labas mo sa school, punta ka ng community, then we have to talk also with other organizations to help us meet our goal or our plan for that particular community. Next, sir. So the fifth principle is that extension works with different target groups. Extension recognizes that not all people in any one area will have the same problems. Some will have more concerns than others and will be keen to try out new ideas. Extension cannot offer a single package of advice suitable to all. Ang one activity fits all. Different groups need to be identified, and the agent will have to develop programs appropriate to each group. So extension must therefore be aware of the existence of different groups and plan its programs accordingly. The smallest and the poorest will need particular attentions. Diba? So as they may lack the basic resources needed to become involved in extension activities. Meron yung mga, kami yung peaglako kasi kastoy masapol nga ula imiti family ni rather than the community. The point to stress, therefore, is the existence of groups with different resources and skills in any, of course, like in any community, and the need for extension to respond to these groups accordingly. Grupo dagiti bagbake, grupo dagiti lalakay, grupo dagiti ubing, kabataan, and the dumapay. So it's a whole package when you go there. Not just women, not just men, not just elders, so titignan lahat natin yung mga vulnerable groups in the particular community and then attend to their needs and issues. All right. Next slide, sir. Now, let's try to look into the parallelism of extension and education. It has been seen that the extension agent's task is an educational one. So community people and their families need to learn new skills, knowledge, and practices in order to improve their lives and other productive activities. As they do so, of course, they develop new attitudes towards production. Like, for example, yung sinasabi kanina, ma'am, yung farming, fishing, and the dumapay. So, the extension agents, of course, must also be prepared to learn from the community about the way they live and keep themselves up to date with relevant developments in production knowledge. And from this work of extension, the extension workers or coordinators should be aware of a number of principles of learning also. Sir, this next slide, sir. Thank you. The educator must also be a learner. Tayo na pumupunta sa community, hindi lang tayo nagtuturo o nagbibigay kaalaman, but also we have to learn something from them. Education is not a process of filling empty minds with knowledge. Community people already have a lot of knowledge about their environment. They would not be able to survive if they did not, right? So, extension must build on the knowledge that already exists. Kung natanto pa mapangkayo pa lang babaro, lalo no, like for example, medyo naubing ka nga agi-transport yung knowledge mo with your community. Agpapangkay pa laing babaro, babalasang agaw-awid kami. Kung na yun, no, i-impose you the J, amoyo kanyada. So you have to learn also something from them. Alamin mo, matuto ka rin sa kanila kasi mayroon din na silang kaalaman. Dito pumapasok yung philosophy natin to idealism compared sa pragmatism. Sa atin, we learn from ideas, facts, knowledge that we have learned. Sa kanila, pragmatic, learning by experience. So paano mo ngayon pag tipunin din dyan? How will you meet these two concepts? Titignan mo how you approach. It's a matter of how to approach these community people. Next slide, sir. Then, of course, learning requires motivation. No one can compel another person to learn. There has to be a desire to learn. Desire. Adults find it more difficult than children to grasp new ideas and for information. Also, unlike a school teacher, the extension agent or the extension workers do not have a captive audience. So community people can choose not to learn, and they can choose not to listen to extension agents or extension workers. People do not learn unless they feel that the learning will result in their being able to satisfy a need or want. At nagiging close-minded kung kuna tayo yung community. Kasi yung concept ba ng extension coordinator kasi pupunta doon to transfer na hindi mo alam. Halimbawa, nagtuturo ka ng this is how to cook pinakbet kung kuna tayo. Nalala Hang na kasta ma'am, hang na kasta sir. No, are you going to teach kasama welding, kumakas pagaringan, unang vulcanizing. Haan nga kasta sir, kung alam to kanya, numadong may susuro. Kastoy di pamayang. So it's more on pragmatic way. So, in this line, we have to go to their weaknesses. We have to look into para ma-motivate mo sila. Next slide, sir. Then we have to do dialogue and practice are important for learning. Mag-usap-usap kayo. You do not just go one-way ticket. Dapat may mutual. Let's say for a case analysis, an extension agent tells a group of farmers how to thin their crops in order to improve yields. Then he goes away, thinking that the farmers have learned a new skill. A few weeks later, he returns to find that none of the farmers have thinned their crops and that they have only a very vague idea of what he told them. So, the extension agent or extension worker should not be surprised. Farmers do not learn very much from a straightforward talk, and most of what they do here, they soon forget. Po ba? So, but of course, if they are given the chance to ask questions, merong roundtable discussions, probably to put the new information into their own words and to discuss it with the extension coordinator or extension worker, much more will be learned and remembered. Furthermore, when a new practical skill is being taught, the farmers must have a chance to practice it. So the extension agent can then correct any initial mistakes, and the farmer will gain the confidence to use the new skill. So may return demonstration, pinapakita mo paano gawin, and then kung mayroong you have to modify, and then at the same time also mas open yung mga farmers na matuto. So ganoon po dapat natin gawin. Also in transfer of skills like livelihood programs na yun. So dapat you have to sit down together, discuss together. Hindi yung lecture type, sinabi mo na lahat, wala na. Alright. So next slide, sir, please. And then learning and the adoption occur in stages. So different types are involved in extension. Before a group of community people can decide to try out a new practice, they must first learn of its existence. They may then have to learn some new skills. And then here comes the 5 stages can be identified in the process of accepting new ideas. First and foremost, we have for awareness, interest, evaluation, here comes trial, then lastly, it's more on adoption. Next slide, sir. So community people also differ in their speed of learning and adoption. So the process by which a new idea spreads among people in an area is known as diffusion. So not all individuals will accept a new idea at the same time. Okay, so in any rural community, the readiness to accept, of course, new ideas and put them into practice varies from people to people, depending on each previous experience with new ideas. The personality of the individual and the amount resources are available. So meron tatlong klase yan. Next slide, sir. Meron yung tinatawag nating innovators. When we say innovators are community people who are eager to accept new ideas. Then usually, there are only a few people in this class in a community. They are often who, having spent some years outside the community, feel that they can make their own decisions without worrying about the opinions of others. In the community, innovators are often looked on with suspicious and jealousy. May klase different behaviors in the community. Yet they are important to the success of an extension program since they can be persuaded to try new methods and thereby create awareness of them in the community. However, of course, the extension agent or the extension coordinator should exercise panagsao tayo. We have to be more tactful and with caution and avoid over praising innovators in public or spending too much time with them. Okay? This could result in rejection of the idea by the rest of the community. So, dami lang kitain nyo ang kanayon kasano kami may. Papasok mo yung jealousy and suspicion of the innovators' motives in adopting new methods. Then, isang klase rin ng tao sa community, yung tinatawag nating, next slide, sir. Sir Bert. Hello. Sir Bert, for the next slide, please. Sir? May internet issue yata. Alright. Papasok na rin dito yung tinatawag nating early adopters.
Hello, sir.
Thank you, sir. When we say early adopters, hahang ba? For community people, am I loud and clear, sir, ma'am? Moms and sirs, am I loud and clear?
Yes, sir. Nagkakaroon lang po tayo ng...
Yes, sir. You're clear.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. So the next one is the tinatawag nating early adopters. So community people who are more cautious and want to see the idea tried and proved under local conditions are known as early adopters. So they express early interest but must first be convinced of the direct benefit of the idea by result demonstration. So usually, this group of people includes yung mga local leaders natin and others who are respected in the community. Okay? And the last group of people in the community ay yung tinatawag natin the majority. Sir? Next slide, please.
Hello, sir. Nabubog po, sir.
The majority, if the rest of the community people adopt a new idea, they will do so more slowly and perhaps less completely. So many individuals will lack the resources to adopt the new idea at all, while others may only do so slowly and with caution. So the majority who can do or who can and do adopt the idea are likely to be more influenced by the opinions of local leaders and of course the neighbors than by the extension agent or the extension worker or the demonstration he arranges. So ito po yung klase ng mga tao doon sa community natin. Now, papasok po tayo sa planning. Next slide, sir. In planning an extension program, so the concept of extension program planning is important to consider in the entire program. We cannot conduct extension programs without planning. It is regarded as an integral and important dimension to a systematized approach of solving issues in the community at a certain period of time. So the most effective that planning achieves is the greatest degree of performance of actions, motions, or operations. Next slide, sir. Along planning, the administration, faculty, students, and other stakeholders shall be involved in planning, prioritizing, and implementing extension programs and activities. So we have to sit together to plan for an extension program, a universal concept. So the extension programs and activities and projects shall be based on the results of the needs assessment and resources of the partner agencies as well. And then planning is, of course, a dynamic act of reflecting about, thinking about, and choosing among various options regarding the destinations, goals and objectives natin, and the route to journey or the educational experience we should follow to reach the destinations. So extension program planning is viewed as a process through which representatives of the people are intensively involved with the extension personnel. So we have to sit together in 4 activities. First, we have to study facts and trends. Second, identifying problems and opportunities based on these facts and trends. Third, making decisions about problems and opportunities that should be given priority, and establishing objectives or recommendations for future economic and social development of a community through educational programs. Parang gumagawa tayo ng SWOT analysis pa. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat. Now, we have the rationale of extension program planning. According to Kelsey and Hearn, the following rationale for planned extension programs are the following. First, it should be based on analysis of the facts in the situation, selects problems based on needs, determines objectives and solutions which offer satisfaction, reflects performance with flexibility, incorporate balance with emphasis. Next slide, sir. Then envisage a definite plan of work, and it should be a continuous process. It is a teaching process, it's a coordinating process, and involves local people and their institutions, and it provides for evaluations of results. Next slide, sir. For extension, the stages in extension program planning, we have to consider to analyze the present situation, ano ba yung nandoon, set objectives for the extension program, anong gusto mong gawin, anong gusto mong magawa doon, develop the program, implement the program by putting the work plan into effect, and evaluate the program. All right, so in this line also we have to consider implementation after planning. When we say implementation, it is a system shall be adopted in the conduct of extension projects where a pool of experts from various disciplines shall participate in the conduct of extension project programs and activities. They shall serve as organizers, facilitators and trainers during the implementation of extension activities in line with their area of expertise. Hindi lang yung iisa, dalawa yung pumupunta sa community, but a group of individuals, group extension workers who will work together for the achievement of a certain goal for that particular activity. So the documented process also for the implementation of the extension projects or the PPAs na tinatawag natin includes initiating skills training, technology transfer, advocacy promotion, community and social services. In the University of Northern Philippines, mayroon health allied services, and also disaster risk management, other related activities. And then after the implementation of this, here comes the preparing post-activity report on the conduct of the extension activities as reference for further activities to be conducted. Ganun po yung ginagawa natin dapat sa implementation of activities. Next slide, sir, please. Then, papasok na tayo sa monitoring and evaluation of extension program. Ano ba yung tinatawag nating monitoring? Ano yung tinatawag nating evaluation? Mayroon they go hand in hand, pero magkaiba yung kanilang concept. Monitoring is a continuous process of collecting and analyzing information to compare how well a project, program, or policy is being implemented against expected results. Monitoring is supervising activities in progress during the conduct of in progress to ensure they are on course and on schedule in meeting the objectives and performance targets. That's monitoring. For the evaluation, it is a systematic collection of information about activities, characteristics, and outcomes of projects to make judgments about the project, improve effectiveness, and or inform decisions about future programming. Next slide, sir, please. Nandito na po yung purpose of monitoring and evaluation. First and foremost, we have to provide constant feedback on the extent to which the projects are achieving their goals, identify potential problems at an early stage, and propose possible solutions. We have to monitor the accessibility of the project to all sectors of the target population. Monitor the efficiency with which the different components of the project are being implemented and suggest improvements. We have to evaluate the extent to which the project is able to achieve its general objectives. Next slide, sir, please. And then provide guidelines for the planning of future projects also. So we have to influence sector assistance strategy, relevant analysis from project and policy and evaluation can highlight the outcomes of previous interventions and the strengths and weaknesses of their implementation. Improve project design, incorporate views of stakeholders, and then show need for mid-course corrections also. Next slide, sir, please. Titignan natin yung complementary roles of monitoring and evaluation. For the monitoring, we have to look into the routine collection of information during the conduct of activity. And then for the evaluation, then analyzing information. Ano nangyari? Question, is the project doing things right for monitoring? And then for evaluation, is the project doing the right things? And then we have to track project implementation progress for the monitoring, and for the evaluation, here comes yung ex-post assessment of effectiveness and impact. And lastly, we have to measure efficiency for the monitoring, and for evaluation, we have for confirming project expectations. So, yun yung complementary roles of monitoring and evaluation. Then after this monitoring and evaluation, dito na yung papasok yung impact assessment natin. not just evaluation, but we have to look into the impact. Ano na ang nangyari? What happened? What now is after an extension program? So ito po yung dapat nating isipin as teachers, as student leaders, when we plan to conduct extension services, to extend our expertise, our knowledge, our new ideas, or skills to the community or to the grassroots. So we always look into yung tinatawag nating grassroots, those who are underserved and the marginalized in the community, to improve their way of life. Ito naman yung pinaka-end goal natin to improve the way of life of the community people, to make everybody happy. Di po ba? So I guess this is all for today. Moms and sirs, thank you very much for listening, and I hope I have imparted a little of my knowledge with regards to extension services and give justice to the topic that you've assigned to me. Thank you po sa lahat.
Thank you so much, sir, for presenting to us a very comprehensive discussion about leadership, management, and planning skills for student leaders and also for faculty extensionists. Now we are down to the open forum, and if you have any questions you want to ask to our respective speaker, you may raise your virtual hand, or you can just type away your question in our chat. Sir Bert is raising his hand, sir.
Yes po.
Thank you, Ma'am Joanna. Thank you for your comprehensive presentation. Please to extend our sincerest gratitude po to Dr. Fatima Recamora and of course to the University President, Dr. Sir, for the approval of our request. Sir, I have two questions po dito. The first one is, are the students course-related work can be classified po as an extension? Like for example, sir, here in Ilocos Community College, we have, for example, in the military program, they do have this community duty. And dito po sa agribusiness, they do have this subject, agricultural extension. Since those programs or those activities are course-related po, can we include them, sir, or can classified po ba siya as an extension?
Ang extension program kasi, pagka sinabi natin extension is transferring of knowledge. Kasi ang ginagawa po natin dito, ang focus kasi nasa students Nasa students or community ba? Ano ba yung titignan natin? So we have to weigh things. Are we there to learn or to impart knowledge? Yun yung pinaka-core na titignan natin So ano yung priority natin? So kanina sinabi ko, it's a two-way process. But the main objective is to learn from the community. Hindi yun community extension program. But ang sinasabi natin extension program is to go to the community and extend our expertise or our knowledge to them, and also learn from them with regards to the knowledge that we are imparting to them. Yun yung tinatawag nating extension program. That's simply my personal opinion. But of course, if there are other opinions na, of course, mas better sa idea ko, then probably we have to look into also. But in my opinion, if you go there to learn from the community, and then hindi yon extension programs. Kasi we should initiate a certain activity to impart to the community per se. Yan yung opinion ko, sir. So I hope I gave justice to your question.
Yes po, sir. Thank you po. My second question, sir, how do you the process of the University Extension
Okay.
Office in your community selection po, sir.
All right. So,
Maybe we could adapt your process din po, sir. Thank you.
all right. Sige, thank you, sir. Ginagawa namin sa University of Northern Philippines, we usually go for site survey. We have initial survey to different communities. Like, for example, may mga pumapasok na referral, halimbawa, sa school. Sa school, yung adapt a school program namin, one teacher will say, sir, kitain nyo man DJ may isang school DJ asidig kayan mi kasi medyo masapol dan sa ICT training. Ganun. Then pupunta din kami. Then we have to talk with the administrations na nandoon. And then after that, we have some roundtable discussions with regards to issues. And after that, kung ano yung sasabihin nila, then that's the time that we are going to consider it in our planning activity. And after that, pwede na rin kaming papasok. We have to introduce our programs, our services. So halimbawa, papasok yung assessment tools namin na ibibigay sa mga community, and that's a little way of one way of identifying a particular community to as an area for extension program. Ganon yung ginagawa namin. Then, meron din yung iba, nagle-letter sa amin, they request UNP to conduct or render a certain extension program sa kanila, and then after that, we also talk to those people, and then we introduce again the universal concept of, the university concept of extension program sa amin. So, ganun yung ginagawa. Initially, mayroong site survey, gano'n. Then after that, we have to learn kung halimbawa, pupunta ka doon sa Farplang Barrio, halimbawa, puntawan mo muna, then alamin mo ang situation. Kasi we should not also compromise the safety and security of the extension agent or the extension workers. Kasi baka may nangangailangan doon sa Farplang Barrio, masyado namang malayo at saka medyo may issue on safety and security. So, medyo may konting distansya po kami with regards to those certain circumstances.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, sir.
I think my fellow partner from the Extension Office have also a question.
Okay po, sir.
Okay, so good morning, Dr. Lloyd Mata. Thank you for providing us such an excellent, I don't know how to describe it, such an excellent, super fantastic talk in providing us knowledge about the extension services po. Actually, I just wanted to ask po, isang question lang naman. Ito, sir. So what is importante kasi siya, sir, para sa amin dito sa Ilocos Sur Community College po. Kaya itatanong ko na lang, sir, though talagang na-overwhelmed ako, sir, sa mga discussions niyo po. Ngayon, sir, what is the finest piece of advice that you can give, particularly to all of us who conduct extension in terms of enhancing our leadership planning skills po, sir?
Usually, you engage with the issue. You have to engage with the issue, the situation. You have to know all the things holistically before you have to plan for a certain extension program. Hindi lang because you are able to do it or you can share it, but of course, we have to consider all phases of the situations before you go for extension program. You know your capability, the things that you can share to them, and then at the same time, we have to evaluate yung mga pwede natin. Halimbawa, kailangan ng isang community ng ganito ganyan, but wala ka naman, then mahirapan ka. So we have to consider manpower, resources, and the workers and of course, yung mga pwede natin gawin pa aside from those. Manpower ang pinakamalakas, yung finances, to consider an extension program. Aside from policies and other things that I have failed to mention. So far, yun lang naman ang pwede nating isipin.
Okay, sir. I hope that my fellow faculty members will internalize the essence of extension services po. So, your words of wisdom made me speechless po talaga. So, thank you so much po, Sir Lloyd.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Dagdag ko lang din, you have to feel with the people. You have to be with the people and time be one with them as an extension worker. Hindi yung mayroong distansya. Parang sa seminary din, that mayroong apostolate, yung community immersion na ginagawa namin ni Mr. Talosa. We have to do some community immersion to live with them, to learn something from them also. Para walang distance ba? Kasi pero sa ngayong pandemic, medyo mahirap yon sa community immersion natin. Ang community immersion kasi you live with them, to feel with them, and to live life with them. Tapno mayroong sense yung significance ng extension program, extension activities natin. Thank you, Ma'am Buena.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for providing us crystal clear and informative answers. And thank you, ma'am and sir, for asking intriguing and helpful. And may we take, thank you, sir, so much. Since may we also ask us for recognition to Dr. Mara. May I read this citation? This certificate of recognition is awarded to Dr. Lloyd A. Mata for sharing his expertise and valuable time as resource capability building seminar and workshop for faculty and student extensionists held on January 28, 2022 via Google Meet, video conferencing platform. Given this community college, Pina Stadium, Zone 5, Bantay, Ilocos, signed by Mr. Bert Kian Q. Prograd, the extension coordinator, signed by our Dr. Arnold Castro Doctorero, our very competent college administrator as well. Sir?
Thank you, ma'am. Maraming salamat po.
I am quite sure that everyone here has learned an informative and helpful insights regarding the topics presented by two of the best speakers in the said fields. And to introduce to us the third lecturer for today's session, may we call on Mr. Greg Fernandez, the Cooperative Management Focal Person, to introduce us our third lecturer. Sir?
Thank you, Ma'am Joanna. Good morning, everyone. I am honored to introduce to you our last speaker for today's webinar. So So Bert Kian Q. Pugrat is a registered midwife nurse by profession and a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Nursing Stepladder Program from the College of Health Sciences, University of Northern Philippines in 2012. Right after passing his nurse's licensure examination, he worked as a staff nurse in Ilocos Provincial Hospital Gabriela Silang from 2012 to 2016. And at the same time, pursued his Master's of Arts in Nursing in the University of Northern Philippines and graduated in 2016. Right after obtaining his master's degree, he ventured into the academe and served as a clinical instructor in Union Christian College, San Fernando City, La Union, handling both nursing and midwifery courses. During those years, he served as part-time or freelance reviewer for both nursing and midwifery review programs. In 2017, he was hired as an instructor of Ilocos Community College, wherein he was given the task and opportunity as well to supervise midwifery students in their community duty, reviving once again his interest in community health development work. With the aim of professional growth, he continuously involved himself in various training, seminar, and presented his research paper at local, national, and international fora. At present, he is currently taking his Doctor of Philosophy in Nursing at St. Louis University, Baguio City. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome in the virtual space the Extension Coordinator of Ilocos Community College, Mr. Bert Kian Q. Pugrat.
Thank you very much, Sir Greg, for that kind introduction. Good morning to my fellow faculty at Ilocos Community College and to our resource guest lecturers, Professor Ato and Dr. Lloyd. Good morning. To all our student leaders who are present today, good morning. And I hope, I know medyo late na at siguro gutom na rin po tayo. But I hope you still have the energy and of course passion and interest to listen to my presentation. So for today, I will be presenting the Ilocos Community College Extension Model, Trust and Guidelines. So disclaimer, my presentation for today is highly influenced from my experiences in the community health nursing duty during the nursing school days, as well as my experience as a clinical instructor in the community setting, along with the concepts of community organizing, participatory action research, which has been introduced to us in the nursing school and which I am teaching in the midwifery program. And of course, I have also included extension-related articles to make my presentation scientific. So the outline of my presentation, I will be presenting the Iscc extension model, the extension thrust and guidelines of our institution, and of course, and lastly rather, yung ating extension and ano nga ba ang model? Okay? So, model is something that's used to represent or explain of something else, and a conceptual model exists in our mind. So, just like in conducting research study, we need model, no? We need theory, or we need framework to guide us in the conduct of research studies, to guide us on how should we conceptualize our study, or how do we interpret the study. A framework is a way of representing the empirical relations between every aspect of inquiry when considered the scientific theory or research, and this is described as a general direction and the constraints of the theory or research. So having a model or having a framework is essential in the conduct of extension, like the message or like the talk na meron siyang present na model or meron siyang present na framework of Ilocos Polytechnic State College in terms of their extension services. So same with my presentation, I will be also presenting our proposed Iscc extension model. So, ang extension model nga ba ay kailangan or essential? So there are some studies or there are some articles related to extension na meron daw tayo 4 na existing models of higher education engagement with extension education. So number one, we have the direct service support model, we have the extension as client model, extension as broker model, and community development service learning model. The first model is the direct service support model, wherein the extension educator is engaged in direct service activities. Okay, so this model is also same with the approach of the different non-government organizations or yung mga agencies that involves in extension or quasi-extension related work. The second is the extension model, wherein the higher education is directly involved in the conduct of extension activities in the community. The third model is the extension as broker model, wherein extension brokers relationship between higher education institutions and groups of the community. Okay, so in the extension as broker model, merong separate entity na pumapasok between the higher education institutions and the community, and that is the extension. And lastly is the community development service model, wherein there should be a dichotomous approach between the helper and the one who is helped. Meron tinatawag na charity approach at meron din siya tinatawag na social change approach. So how should we conduct, no? So based from those models, no, how do we plan to conduct extension activities? Okay, so I will be now sharing you a story, and this story is all about community organizing. Yung mga classmates, yung mga kasama ko dito na galing sa nursing program, ito yung lagi nilang binibigay na story or lagi pinipresent ng aming mga instructors with regards to community organizing. Because in Iscc, we would like to adopt this community organizing approach in our extension services. So para maintindihan natin kung ano nga ba ang extension, kung ano nga ba ang community organizing, I will share to you this story. In a far-flung community, a little boy approached the community leaders and asked them, Uncle, nagpatakder kayo man dayon nga nagay-ayama. So yun yung request ng bata. Okay, so since the child is intelligent, no, kinausap niya yung mga barangay officials, the community leaders then conducted a meeting together with the organizations, with other organizations, to put up the best type of swing for the child. So, eto na ngayon yung mga proposals. Okay? So, as proposed by the consultant, yung swing dapat ng bata, dodrigin dayong tubig, at itid mga talina, tapos meron tatlong what do you call this, pagtugawan or tatlong lang. Okay? And the reason of that consultant, para hindi lang isang bata ang beneficiary, hindi lang dalawa, kundi tatlo. Okay, mabaling nga talong uping kagaayan tines ang aswing. Okay? And then here comes the quality control. Anong sinabi ng quality control? Safety is our priority. So, kiduwa nga tali, yung dalawang tali, hindi siya sapat. Dapat ay tatlong tali para to ensure na safe yung swing, safe yung bata, at okay din yung swing. Okay? So, as revised by the non-government organizations and government organizations, ito yung naging output ng kanilang proposal. Okay? So, we accept the fact na kapag siguro bakit ganito nga ba yung output ng NGO, no? PPP ba to? Public-private partnership ba to? Okay? Nanapoles kaya ang project na ito, kaya for the sake of putting up a swing, basta ano na lang yung nagawa nila. Okay? And as approved by the donor, dapat ay ganito daw. Because they also need to engage the donor kung saan nila ng bata. Okay? So, they have different ideas in mind, they have different programs, or they have different proposals with regards to the project, and they come up with this final output. At ano ang final output nila? It is something out of this world type of swing, kung saan pasok naman, no, merong swing, adat tali, tapos adat breeze na DJ, yung punong kahoy kung saan nila nilagay yung swing. Okay? But what the boy little wanted is just a simple swing, no? Simple nga yung dayon na merong rope, talina, gulong na, nga pag-iayaman ni Juby. So, what do you think is the value of this story? Okay? Or how do we plan really to conduct extension activities? So take note, as mentioned a while ago by my fellow speakers, Dr. Mata and Professor Ato, that we should always involve the people in the community. Kasi meron tayong tinatawag na dalawang perspective. Okay, we have this emic perspective and the epic perspective. So this emic perspective is the insiders, no? Yan yung perspective ng mga taga-community. At yung perspective natin as faculty extensionists, as outsiders, is so-called epic perspective. Just like in the story that I presented, ang epic perspective, yung mga proposal ng mga consultant, proposal ng mga NGO, proposal ng mga ng quality control, proposal ng mga outsiders. But the emic perspective there is the idea behind of that swing by the child who is a target beneficiary. So in short, in the conduct of our extension activities, there should be a meeting of minds between the emic perspective and the ethic perspective to make our extension programs more applicable in the setting or in their lives. I would like to present to you here the principles of community organizing. Number one principle is the active participation. In extension, we do not do the dole-out programs. Although we accept the fact that our first extension-related activities are somewhat leaning to the dole-out activities. Kasi yun yung parang unang naging, may nag-request po sa atin, my school, that they need support and assistance, and then we answer their needs, or we provide support and assistance. Okay, although based from the CDX naman ng mga students, they have found out that living in that community belong to the below the poverty level. Okay, but we should keep in mind that gone are the days yung mga dole-out extension programs natin. Sabi nga kanina ni Dr. Mata kanina na hindi lang dapat yung simpleng outreach lang. Andun ka lang, then tapos na. So in this active participation, it's still best that we should teach the man to catch a fish. Because if you teach a man how to catch a fish, you will feed him for the rest of his life. Instead of purely giving him what he or she needs, hindi siya magiging self-reliant. Okay? Because one of our goals also in extension is to promote self-reliance or self-efficacy to the community. Next is the inclusiveness. Okay? So there is beauty in diversity. So in extension, we need to do site survey, site visit, needs assessment, okay, to come up with a very comprehensive review with regards to the needs of the people in that community. The third one is the wholeness and generativity. Maybe in our needs assessment, you'll be able to solve the problem of the community, but we should also take note with the so-called soft issues or soft concerns of the community. Kasi meron silang mga soft concerns or issues that might affect not only the single person, but the entire community itself. And lastly, is to be critical. We should remain critical in planning. We should remain critical in our conduct of activities, in our partnership and collaboration with various agencies. In the nursing school, we have this community organizing participatory action research, as well as in the primary healthcare courses of our midwifery students. So dito sa ating co-par model na to, we have these two planes. We have the plane, upper plane is the community people, In the lower plane, we have the community development workers, community organizers. So dito sa ating COPAR model, no, meron din tayong ditong principle or the value of time or the span of time, and of course, their degree of responsibility. So in that COPAR, marami kasing approach yan, or maraming phases yan, from phase 1 up to the last phase. So somewhat synonymous to the conduct of extension. Accordingly, start with assessment, needs assessment, and then planning, implementation, evaluation, impact assessment, and then yung turnover phase. Okay? So just like in COPAR, parang ganun din kasi yung approach, that during their first visit or during their first contact with that community, mapapansin natin na dito sa community development side ay sobrang lawak yung kanilang responsibility. Whereas the community perspective side, sobrang liit lamang. But as time goes by, no, habang tumatagal sila sa pagkandak nila ng programs doon, health-related programs, lumilit na ngayon yung responsibility ng community development workers at lumalaki na ngayon yung responsibility of the community people. So based from those, based from this COPAR approach, I present to you the Iscc Extension Services model, which is highly influenced by the community organizing models. So we know that as higher education institutions, we have this trifocalized function or this fourfold function, namely instruction, research, and extension, as well as production, wherein these three elements or these four elements have intertwined connection with each other. Like for example, the output of our research studies should be translated into specific programs, into palpable programs community. Ang result ng ating mga thesis, hindi lang siya hanggang sa library lang, hindi lang siya hanggang sa presentation lang. There should be an output. So that's the relationship between research and extension. Okay? And of course, as part of the extension, we should establish partnership with various agencies, government and non-government organization. At dito na tayo papasok sa ating parang COPAR approach model. Okay? So of course, as outsider, during our first visit, our degree of responsibility to that adopted community ay sobrang lawak, no? Marami mataas or sobrang lawak yung ating responsibility. Okay? At yung responsibility naman ng community natin, or adopted community or adopted school, maliit lamang during the first contact. But as we implement different extension services and programs, as we capacitate our adopted communities or adopted school, no? And as time goes by, our degree of responsibility decreases. Why? Because we are now capacitating, we are now building the knowledge and the skills of that community, of our adopted community, and we are now transforming them to become more self-reliant as time goes by. This is very idealistic model, okay? And this is very challenging for all of us. I know this is not only the challenge of Iscc, but I think this is also the challenge of our fellow higher education institutions who are conducting extension services in the community. Kasi minsan, very idealistic yung perspective natin, pero yung ating mga partner communities, minsan, no, they have this, they do not accept knowledge transformation, or very hesitant sila, okay, sa changes, or very hesitant sila to adopt new information. No? Yan nga yung sinabi kanina ni Dr. Mata, we have this idealism and we have this pragmatism. Okay? But he also provided that we need to present, no? We need to be creative and have this more groundwork approach to the community, okay, sa mga adapted, sa mga partner communities natin, to implement our extension programs. So I present now to you our Iscc Extension Trust Priority Programs and Guidelines, and we are guided by the mnemonics Iscc. I stands for Industry, non-formal education and technical vocational programs. S stands for Social and Basic Programs. C stands for Capability Building Programs and Community Care Outreach Programs. As mentioned by Professor Atto, that our trust should be based on our expertise. Okay? And at least we were able to verify or validate that our proposed ICC extension thrust is correct, ay tama po, because this is based on the expertise of our institution. Okay, so under the industry, non-formal education, technical vocational programs, ano yung mga possible programs na pwede natin provide? We have the provision of livelihood trainings, and of course, the technical vocational skills training. Knowing that we have this test the office programs headed by Sir Amador Rojo. So pwede tayo I hope we will be able to come up with a partner or we have really to come up with programs that will cater or that will provide technical and vocational skills to our adapted community sooner or later. The next trust, we have your social and basic health services. So under this, we have the food and health education. Meron tayong midwifery programs who would, we have the health science department rather, the BS midwifery program, who specializes under the health services, medical and dental mission. We are attached, we are under the same roof with the Ilocos Provincial Hospital Gabriela Silang, as well as the Provincial Health Office since we are under the Provincial Government of Ilocos Sur. Basic life support training, mental and health counseling services, and the agricultural industrial training. Why do we have this agricultural industrial training? Because we have experts or we have these instructors coming from the agribusiness department as well as in our Iscc demo file. Next, we have the letter C. C stands for capability building programs that focuses on community leadership training, information technology literacy, business or financial literacy program, and these rural development training programs. Under the information technology literacy and business or financial literacy programs, we have the cooperative management as well as the information technology. Okay. Next, we have the community care and outreach programs. So ito na yung pinaka-usual na alam natin with regards to extension. We have the different outreach activities such as Adapt School, Adapt Barangay, solid waste management, gift giving, disaster relief, cleanup drive, tree planting, and this visiting to home care orphanage and resort. So yan po yung ating Iscc extension trust and priority programs that focuses on industry, non-formal education, technical vocational programs, social and basic health services, capability building and community care outreach programs. So how do we conduct, Ano nga ba yung process flow natin in the conduct of extension activity? So we follow this preliminary phase, implementation phase, and the project turnover phase. Okay, and I think we have. I think this is similar also to the presentation of Dr. Mata. That we should start with planning. We should start with site visit. We should start with needs assessment. Okay? We should start with this. We should start with needs assessment survey, or the so-called rapid rural appraisal. Okay? So after the preliminary steps, after we find out kung ano yung problem talaga ng community, then we go to planning. Okay? After planning, so after the preliminary steps, balikan natin yung story ng bata na nag-request kanina talaga ng community, then we should involve after planning, so after the beneficiaries. Okay? So after coming up with a sound plan, then we are now ready for the implementation phase. Kapag na-capacitate na po natin, kapag na-build na natin or na-aim na natin yung ating objective, self-reliant na yung mga community, or they have already gained their knowledge and skill that they need, then we move to turnover phase or project turnover, termination, evaluation, and of course, the summary report. So in this activity flowchart, paano nga ba yung tinatawag natin na institutional-led or department-led extension activities? Because based from our extension MOPG, meron tayong tinatawag na institutional-led or department-led extension activities, okay? Partner-led as well as student-led. Okay? In the institutional-led or department-led activities. Step number one, we should prepare all the necessary documents or requirements, like for example, your operational plan, your project proposals, and this should be forwarded to the extension office for review and for approval. Kapag okay na yun, kapag na-approve or na-review na po ng extension office, we could now forward or submit this to the office of the college administrator for the final approval. Kapag approved na po, then we move to the implementation phase. After the implementation phase, we have the project termination, evaluation, and summary report, and of course, the submission of the pertinent documents. How about for your partner-led extension program? So last week, meron tayong nakandak na partner-led extension programs wherein we, the San Pedro National High School requested or sent a request letter to the Office of the College Administrator to conduct livelihood training for their parent workers and ICT development training for teachers. So paano yung process naman paano yung flow naman ng ating partner-led. So we have the extension, we have the external communication or communication letter forwarded to our institution, and this will be endorsed to the extension office from the college administrator, and the extension office will prepare all the necessary documents needed before the implementation of the activity. And of course, we also need to submit reports or documentation for complaint. Okay? So I think yun lamang yung aking presentation, and I hope you are still with us. Alam ko